Hello and welcome to Geometric View. August 11th was the last day to submit suggestions on the Draft Environment Impact Assessment EIA Policy 2020. Apparently 1.7 million suggestions have been forwarded to the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. What possibly triggered that avalanche of suggestions is a clause in the draft policy that allows certain industries to set up shop even before taking permission. Many fear that it's like allowing a molester to take permission later. Corporate plunder of our environment has devastated our land for decades, even with existing laws. The fear is that the new policy will accelerate and aggravate that plunder. But my focus this week is not on corporates, but on we the citizens collectively ravaging our environment. It is fashionable to blame corporates for everything, but not quite so to point that accusing finger at ourselves. And it's quite the appropriate time to do so because, according to a World Economic Forum report, India has 6 of the 10 most polluted cities in the world at the moment and 14 of the top 20 most polluted cities. So who's to blame? The corporates? Yes, to a great extent, but you and I as well. How else could we have created all these mountains of waste in every village, town and city across the country and polluted every river? Visit an industrial or mining town like a Singrauli or Korba or Patancheru, I've been to all three, and a residential city like a Delhi or a Mumbai or a Bengaluru, and we see that the pollution is almost the same. Industrial pollution being almost the same as what I may call civilian pollution. So how have we reached here? I believe our consumerism has overrun and obliterated our culture. Just go back to the time when we did not have machine saws to bring down trees. In our Indian tradition, a priest and the woodcutter would go and pray before the tree and ask for forgiveness before cutting it down. The woodcutter would then peel off a portion of the skin of the tree, which would lead to some of the branches shedding their leaves. That's the message to all the birds nesting on the tree, that the tree would be dying shortly. A 3-month notice period of sorts is given to all the birds and all sorts of creatures on the tree to leave before it's pulled down. One would shudder to think what would happen today. The tree is sold, the man with the machine saw appears, and kaboom, crash, it's pulled down in a few moments. It only takes the owner to think, why should it be standing here? I can cut it down, take the money and make that money grow. I can probably invest in some stock. Monetize it. Yeah, that's the catchword. Monetize. Stretch that thought. We monetize everything. Even trying to monetize our children by putting them into some coaching camp and make them work and make money as quickly as possible, whether they like it or not. Also look at what our shopping bags bring every few days. The least we can do is not throw the plastic wastes around. In most urban areas, people hand them over to the municipal bodies, and guess where they end up? Mostly in the waste mountains. We rarely realize how much plastic wastes we bring along even when we buy a single shirt. So this is outside wrapper. Take the shirt out, and there's another plastic to keep the collar stiff. There's another one here, and there are these little strips to keep the cloth together. Sachet marketing has been touted as a brilliant marketing innovation over the past 3 decades, targeting the bottom of the pyramid and boosting sales of everything from pan masala and shampoo to coffee powder and pickles. But who cares about the adverse impact it has on the environment? And I've come across this chapati brand where a layer of plastic has been kept between every chapati. And how do I know this? Because over the past 26 years, I have been doing this exercise of keeping all my family's plastic wastes at home. Despite being extremely cautious about generating plastic waste and carrying a shopping bag wherever I go, my family also generates hundreds of pieces of plastic wastes each month. Here are a few from the last few days. This is a wheat flour packet. Here's an oil wrapper, a biscuit wrapper, another biscuit wrapper. Somebody's ordered something from Amazon. Someone's had a toffee. I keep them all compressed in carton after carton, keeping them down and compressed with a weight. In this case, a grinding stone used in my parents' generation. Does that absolve me? No, because I keep consuming. Like this t-shirt that I'm wearing has a certain amount of polyester made in some factory, and the cotton made in some other factory, the buttons made in some other factory, my watch, my spectacles, my pant, my belt, my shoes, all made in some factory or the other. Can I just blame the corporates alone for making all that? Certainly not. I am a consumer too, and I am also part of generating all that wastes and creating an impact on the environment. And now, where does all this go? Frankly, I have no clue. All that I know is that I ought to be responsible for the waste generated through my consumption and not throw that at society. India has consistently ranked low on the Global Environmental Performance Index, coming as low as 177 out of 180 nations in 2018. We have fared poorly on almost all indicators, including environmental health policy, biodiversity and habitat, air and water pollution, and climate change. Keeping to that insensitive attitude, when we see a rock like this, we'd like to have easier laws to quarry it, foolishly thinking that it will add to our ease of doing business. Instead of boosting ease of doing business, we could well be boosting our ease of losing lives instead. British journal Lancet reported that India lost 1.24 million lives owing to air pollution alone in 2017. The whole nation is enthused about our economy growing from $2.7 trillion per annum to $5 trillion per annum. A larger economy also means more impact on the environment, unless all that growth comes from low-impact sectors like IT services and products. You may be one of the 1.7 million who wrote in protest to the ministry about the draft environmental policy notification. But this would be a good time to ask ourselves whether it is right to point fingers at corporates alone, or think whether we too are complicit in ravaging the environment. Ask ourselves whether we are working with some company, earning a salary, and purchasing things that involve mining, manufacturing, or packaging. It would be good to look into our own shopping bags and look at our cars and refrigerators and air conditioners and mobile phones. Otherwise, there would be the stark irony of the polluter being the protester. Thank you.